lot going on. The world just continues to move and progress. And what I'm observing is that there is this globalistic convergence where we're looking for the coming of a global system. We're looking at it through economics, we're looking at it through politics, we're looking at it through religion. Everything is formulating into a single point where the world is going to be hungry for a leader, a global leader, to take the world and restore it to something. They don't know what really, but they just know that they want chaos and they want someone to step up and take control and make it into something that brings stability to people's lives, it brings stability to the nations, brings stability to the world. And so people look for control. They don't just look for control, they desire for there to be control in chaos. Remember COVID and how there was so much chaos that came out of this, and shutdowns and masks and distances, and there was so much chaos surrounding this that people were willing to give up rights. People were willing to give up things so that there could be control, there could be stability again. And this is what we're seeing on a global scale. Now we're going to talk about a couple things tonight. We're going to start with Israel, and probably in a different direction that you may not expect. I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but Israel is hosting a LGBTQ festival by the Dead Sea. That on the surface doesn't surprise me because Israel is one of the only nations in the Middle East that is LGBTQ friendly. You go to Tel Aviv in June and they have some of the largest pride festivals that you'll find. So it's really, I always chuckle, so to speak, when there are people over here, people that are woke, students. You see the trans people for Gaza, or the homosexuals for Gaza, or gays for Gaza, and they don't understand anything about the Middle East, because if you go to Gaza in that condition, you're going to get tossed off a building. If you go to Iran in that condition, you're going to get put before a firing squad or hung. You go to the UAE and other places, you're going to be completely run out of the country. Israel is very LGBTQ affirming to a certain degree. Now, your religious Jews over there, they're not friendly about that, and it's a dividing issue, just like it is here in America. But what's remarkable about this is Israel is hosting this festival by the Dead Sea. Now, what cities existed near the Dead Sea? Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, so here, this is the remarkable thing. The official X account of Israel, which is run by the Israeli Foreign Ministry, is promoting this upcoming 4-day LGBTQ Pride Festival, which some detractors on social media notated is in the traditional location of Sodom and Gomorrah. And their slogan is, Pride rises at the lowest place on earth. The Post goes on to say, this June, the Dead Sea becomes Pride Land. Friends, spiritually speaking, we are looking at the same demonic forces at work. It's like they're coming home to mama now. These forces haven't gone anywhere. And they are just as they were trying to grip Israel, and just as it goes back to the time of Abraham, right? Just as they have been trying to pull God's people away, they've done it here in the West, they've been doing it here in Israel, these same demonic forces are at work, and they're returning back. This Pride Land is going to be the biggest LGBTQ festival ever in the Middle East. Well, it's really the only LGBTQ festival in the Middle East, because none of the Arab nations are going to tolerate this. If there's anything we have in common with the Muslims, is that we don't go for LGBTQ. The only difference is we're not going to throw them off the roof of a building. We're going to pray for them. We're going to love them. We're going to introduce them to the Savior of the world so that they can be saved from their sins. But this is 4 days of nonstop celebration. Now, what does nonstop celebration mean to you? This isn't a birthday party where they're blowing out birthday candles. That means debauchery. That means licentiousness. That means all kinds of immorality that is going to be cultivated and celebrated within a stone's throw of fire and brimstone. Revelation 17 is introducing us to the great harlot. It says that one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls, so he's talking about, you remember the bowls are among the final judgments of the tribulation period. He said to me, "Come and I will show you the great judgment of the great prostitute," meaning harlotry, meaning sexual immorality, and it says, "who is seated on many waters." Whenever we're talking about waters, we're talking usually about Gentile nations, okay? He is seated on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have, listen to this, committed sexual immorality. And with the wine of those of whose sexual immorality the dwellers on the earth have become drunk. The dwellers of the earth have soaked up this debauchery, this gay agenda, this LGBTQ, AI plus, whatever it is, that has become so powerful, so soaked, saturated. And look around our country, look in our media, look into kids shows and how it's saturated in everything. I mean, you open up your phone and look for icons. And or like I can open up my phone and change my wallpaper. And there you'll find you can add your pride flag. They have pride flags for you to add. But you can't certainly add, they don't offer a Christian flag. They don't offer, anything else unless you import it in yourself. But my point is, this agenda, this gay agenda has saturated into every aspect of our culture. And if you speak against it, you're getting lambasted. Because it's a spiritual stronghold that is pushing mightily and powerfully against the nations, against the people. And so he said, "And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness." Now, when Jesus was carried into the wilderness, he was going into the Dead Sea area. And I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast full of what? Blasphemous names. Go preach at a pride fest and watch what happens. Talk about blasphemous names. I got friends that do it. And had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the impurities of her sexual immorality. And on her forehead was written a name of mystery, Babylon the Great, mother of prostitutes and the earth's abominations. In Israel, they're going right back to the very heart, to the very place of judgment with Sodom and Gomorrah. And then in verse 6 it says, "I saw the woman drunk with blood of the saints and the martyrs of Jesus. When I saw her, I marveled greatly." Pride Land, which is slated to celebrate this behavior from June 1st to 4th, will transform part of the Judean desert near the Dead Sea into a 24-hour city, 15 hotels, beach facilities, and central performance arena that will host continuous entertainment from prominent Israeli performers, according to the Jerusalem Post. The event will also purportedly provide family-friendly areas with activities for children. Why do they always want to bring children into the midst of this? Why do they always want to make sure they have the drag queens speaking to the children or reading to the children and all this? Because they have an agenda beyond this. Aaron Cohen, who is the main producer and initiated the event, told the outlet that the scale of the festival is unprecedented. So watch what happens within the first few days of June. Now, let's go to the Pope for a minute. I just had a conversation with Mondo Gonzalez today about the Pope. That recording will probably be coming out next week. The movement of the spirit of the false prophet is going in a direction like we've never seen before. You go to Europe right now. You go to England, you go to Germany. Islam has taken over the entire central parts of Europe. Into England, into Germany, into Spain, parts of parts of Portugal, Switzerland. Now, they're not coming in to integrate into the society. You're not going to find any Muslims wearing lederhosen at the German festivals. They are taking over. They are burning churches. They are taking over. They are replacing churches with mosques. They are having a rate of babies, of 10 Muslim babies to 1. In England, the number one named baby at the London hospitals is Muhammad. Okay? So they are moving and they are overtaking. Islam is never about peace. Islam is always about submission, and Islam is always about overtaking. Islam is a demonic stronghold. Okay? It comes out of Ishmael. So Pope Leo is going around parading, and he's going into mosques, he's going into different places, and he's saying, we all need to get along with Islam. We all need to let Islam be Islam. And he most recently visited the Grand Mosque of Algiers just a couple of weeks ago, where he signed a golden book. And this visit was seen as some sort of ongoing initiative to form a Vatican Islamic alliance. Now we have, if you've been studying prophecy, you have looked back, if you remember back to some of the earlier days of prophecy, we've always been saying that the Catholic Church is going to be a prominent player in the one world religion system. Okay? So here we have Pope Leo. By the way, if you understand the ancient prophecies of Malachi as well, that talk about that this is the last pope. Remember? So we have this visit is seen as some kind of form of Vatican Islamic alliance, including the projects like, remember me talking about the Abraham House a couple of years ago, what they're building at the UAE, where they have on one property a mosque, a cathedral, and a synagogue. Well, he's been very active in making these part of a promoting an interfaith project amongst Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Now, on the surface, that sounds great. Oh, we can all just get along, right? Group hug, kumbaya, except it's leading towards a false worship of a false god. Friends, Allah is not the God of Israel, or the God of Jesus, or the God of Christianity. Jesus, of course, is the God of Christianity, the Son of God. But during the visit, he took a moment to pray inside the mosque, making it his first known public prayer in such settings. Pope Leo visited one of the world's largest mosques during a historic trip to Algeria, emphasizing the urgent need for interreligious unity among global tensions. All of a sudden, also, the Pope is sympathetic to the Iranian regimes. He's very upset that we went after the Iranian regime and started bombing and dropping bombs and attacking Iran. Now, he's said nothing about the 42,000 people that have been killed this year alone by the IRGC. My point is, here you have the sacred cow in the pride. You have the sacred cow in Islam. Cannot be moved. In the mainstream media and the woke ideologies, if you say anything about Islam, that instantly makes you a homophobic or a Islamophobic. Right? You can't speak out against Islam on the mainstream medias or in the woke settings, because you're instantly Islamophobic. They don't want to talk about the people that are being beheaded because they speak out against Islam. They don't want to talk about, throwing people off roofs or whatever. Or flying planes into buildings or blowing stuff up. They just want to talk about that you cannot speak out against, any more than you can speak out against LGBTQ. Because that makes you an instant homophobic. So, watch the Pope carefully, because he's moving and he's driving the Catholic Church in a very significant direction that is very much aligned with the spirit of the false prophet. We've watched beast system advancements come about. A newly surfaced patent tied to Wells Fargo outlines a system using microscopic sensors, often referred to as smart dust, to authenticate individuals during transactions. These micro-electromechanical devices are designed to collect biometric data and transmit it to a system verifying identity in real time. According to the patent, the particles could gather sensitive data such as physical characteristics or even images, raising serious questions about how far financial institutions may go in the future to secure and potentially monitor transactions using smart dust. We've been talking about smart dust for a while, how it can even be used in rooms for observation. Ford filed patents to read your lips, scan your irises, and monitor your heart rate and run your face through a criminal database. Think about this. You get in your car, you're a little upset because you had a fight with your husband and he was wrong and you know you're right, and so you get in the car, your blood pressure's up, your eyes are dilated, and you're sitting there with a tight grip on the steering wheel, and Ford says, "You know what? You can't drive today. You're too upset to drive." And it won't allow you to take the car out of park and put it into drive. Now, if you get in I got a Ford F-150, love it. You get in my car right now and you don't have the key fob with you, it will not let you take the car out of park. Okay? If I'm driving down the road and I'm watching what's happening on the side of the road because there's, emergency vehicles or something like that, my truck will start flashing warnings at me. Hey, pay attention to the road. You're not watching the road enough. So my truck is already scanning me. More of your data is collected and transmitted by your vehicles to the car manufacturers, and who knows what they do with it, than almost anybody else. Second only to the Roomba. But your vehicle, think about your vehicle. You have some of your best and most meaningful and intimate conversations while you're driving down the road with your husband or your wife. Right? You think, hey, this is a good time to talk about the kids and what's going on, and we need to figure this out, or you have your arguments on the way to church or whatever it is. Your vehicles, most modern vehicles, are recording everything that you are saying and doing, your behaviors, just like Facebook scans what you're looking at, and it'll record what you're doing and how you respond, your facial images to a picture you see. And it'll look at that and it'll say, well, I need more. We need to send this out to manufacturers so that they can give more advertisements because you just looked at the picture of this cute puppy dog, and so you must really like puppy dogs, and so you're going to show more. They're going to show you more advertisements on puppy dogs. It was who was it? Instagram, Andrea, that is recording when a female, a young girl, is deleting her selfies. And it looks at that and it says, this girl, she's 12 years old, she's 13 years old, she's 14 years old, has just deleted her selfie off her phone. What's the most important thing for a young girl to know that when she's that age? She's beautiful. She wants to know she's beautiful. So Instagram, think, that poor girl, she needs to know she's beautiful. We're going to send her beauty product information. And they're doing it all the time. Do you know the highest suicide rate among teenagers today is with young girls between 12 and 15? And it's all because of social media. So back to Ford. Ford is now monitoring your biometrics to determine whether or not you can drive. Now think about this, Pastor Matt. When the Antichrist is monitoring the traffic, and it says, it realizes that you're not being compliant with the beast system, and so you can't drive. Or the climatologists say, you know what, you've driven enough in that big old Ford pickup this week. You're not driving anymore. Imagine there was emergency outside the truck, and I jump in my truck, but it won't shift to drive because the cameras and sensors in the cab detect how big my eyes are. This is the beast system coming together. This is the beast system total control. This isn't your truck anymore, is it? Because you don't get to decide when you're going to drive it. You're just paying for it. My truck also will record, send to the dealership information on how it's performing, when I got my last oil change, driving habits. And it'll respond to that, to insurance companies and so on. So there's a lot of emotion and some panic behind this, and we're just getting ready to see the tip of the iceberg on this. Let's look at anti-Semitism for a minute. In Kyrgyzstan, there was a hotel that put a sign out in front that says, "Jews and animals are not allowed." Old demons, right? Old demons, same old demons. Jews and animals were not around. The hotel has since removed it due to widespread condemnation, according to Israel's ambassador to the Republic of Kyrgyzstan. But Brzezinski said Tuesday that the matter had been resolved by local officials. But again, here we have the continual upfront offense to Israel and Jews, just simply because they're Jewish. Another thing we see here is a U.S. Army soldier has been arrested and charged. What for? For threatening to walk into a synagogue with an assault rifle and kill every single Jew in the room. Federal prosecutors announced this yesterday. Jacob McCoulier, 22, a soldier stationed at Fort Polk Army Base in west central Louisiana, was charged with, according to the court files, the suspect allegedly said he planned to enter the synagogue with an assault rifle and kill every Jew inside. Officials said the threats were taken seriously, and law enforcement moved quickly to stop any possible danger. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, an 18-year-old woman was held with a $10 million bond on last Thursday, after authorities alleged she conspired with two men to attack a Texas synagogue and kill as many Jews as possible. It's just like a broken record. It's just like a broken record. The suspect, Angelina Han Hicks of Lexington, North Carolina, was charged with a felony conspiracy to commit murder and felony conspiracy to commit assault with a deadly weapon, according to court documents. She allegedly plotted with two men to attack the congregation Beth Israel Synagogue in Houston, Texas, according to court records. The conspiracy to kill as many Jews as possible by driving through a congregation at the synagogue. Wow. Again, same old demons, just rising up and pushing back. So let me end with this.
Were the two people she was conspiring with, were they like agents undercover?
You know what? That would be my guess, but the story didn't specify. The question was the two men she was conspiring with agents undercover or something, and the news story didn't tell me for sure. Good question though. I don't know if you're aware of this. Back in a couple months ago, Eva Schloss died. I don't know if you know who Eva Schloss is. Eva Schloss was the last sole survivor of Auschwitz. She was 96. Actually, Olivier was supposed to interview her last year because of the war. I think it was because Iran was raining missiles down on Israel. They canceled his flights, and he couldn't get into Israel that time. She was a dedicated advocate for remembrance, a voice for those who could no longer speak. She was born in 1929. Her early life was profoundly shaped by the events unfolding around Europe. After her family fled to Amsterdam, they were eventually arrested in 1944, where they were deported to Auschwitz, and there she endured immense hardship and loss. She survived alongside her mother, while her father and brother perished before the liberation in 1945. In the years that followed, she committed her life in education and remembrance, sharing her experiences to ensure that the lessons of history would not be forgotten. And sadly, we see today that many of those lessons are being resurfaced, not only in Germany, but around the world. Through her work, including her involvement with the Anne Frank Trust in the UK, she helped foster awareness, understanding, and responsibility across generations. Eva Schloss's legacy endures as a testament to resilience, truth, and the enduring importance of remembrance. Friends, we have been given just a great opportunity these days to stand up as believers, to stand up as Schindlers, to stand up as people who are upholding righteousness and truth and peace and love, upheld by the Bible. Jesus came as the Prince of Peace. Jesus gives us those peace, and Jesus gives us that peace, and he gives us reconciliation with God. And it's to turn away from the immorality and the hatred of God and the hatred of truth. And friends, when we hold fast to him and we hold strong with him and his truth, there's a peace that comes that passes all understanding. But when the church loses sight of that, we don't have anything more to hold on to, and we don't have anything to offer the world. Jesus says, in this world you will have tribulation. You know, Jesus never promised we would go through this world absent of trials. He said, in this world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I've overcome the world.